But you were here to talk about the Broncos, so let's get into them right away. Of course, the big news yesterday was Tim Patrick. George got left right here on the board with the Broncos. Win total at 10. Prop shop, get the best possible odds. I've seen some 9.5s. I've seen some 10.5s at plus money, really juiced to the over at the 9.5. Plus 850 to win the conference, plus 270, as we mentioned earlier, to win the division. I put wildcard in here because there is some value for them to be a potential wildcard team here. Super Bowl 18-1. I think they were 22 or 24-1 at the time that they acquired Russell Wilson. There was some speculation that they would potentially be after him or Aaron Rodgers. So books were kind of all over it. And then you see the record there at 7-10 last year. Let's switch over to some of their weapons and show you guys where they're going in drafts. This is over the last few weeks. Had to include KJ Hamler in here, of course, with Tim Patrick going down yesterday, a torn ACL, done for the season. Wide receiver 96. Be interested to see where he does climb here over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Jeudy, wide receiver 27, and Courtland Sutton, wide receiver 21. You really have to make your decision on what you want there. Jen, I actually have both in the Scott Fish Bowl with Russell Wilson, so it's a little bit of a weird stack that I went with. I picked at the end, I did 12, and I just I didn't know who to pick, so I just picked them both. Javonte in there at RB10, Melvin Gordon, RB37, Russell Wilson, as you mentioned, a top 10 quarterback. I will not try to pronounce Big O's name, but he is going as tight end 15. All right. Where do you want to start here? Running backs? Williams?
Sure.
Gordon? Let's start there.
Sure.
What do you think?
Okay, so
pretty split last year.
Okay, look at that. Exactly 203 rushing attempts each. Gordon 10 total touchdowns between rushing and receiving, 1,130 all-purpose yards, averaging 4.5 yards per attempt. And this guy is going as late as the 8th round. Meanwhile, Javonte Williams sometimes going as early as the 1st round. So I get it. Javonte Williams, super talented, super young. But what fantasy players need to remember is they're not playing for your fantasy team. They're playing to win the division. And what worked for them was a pretty even split. Now, that's not to say Javonte Williams won't get 60%, Melvin Gordon gets 40%, but they didn't go sign Melvin Gordon to a 1-year contract not to use him because they didn't like him. Because you look at the numbers, Melvin Gordon is still a very good running back, and he's pals with Russell Wilson. And that's something we also need to remember. So, the difference in their points last year, Williams played only 27 more snaps. The total difference in their points in PPR leagues, fewer than 10 points, but on a per game basis, Gordon actually had a 10th of a point more. I mean, again, we're splitting hairs, but my point is the value, if you can get Gordon round 6, round 7, round 8, just depends on, how savvy the drafters are. Who could you take at the end of round 1 or round 2 instead to pair with Gordon? That's what I would like to do. So for me, I don't have any shares of Javonte Williams. I love Javonte Williams, but at the cost, I think it's just too big of a risk.
I couldn't agree more. I honestly couldn't agree more. I don't know if we're going to miss that breakout from Williams because we both agree he's really, really good. He's a great running back, but yeah, you're right. They brought back Melvin Gordon and he's a good running back in his own. This is a guy that gets 8+ touchdowns every single year. He's a great pass blocker. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. Can we bring this board up one more time, Tyler?
I'm hungry.
This one, what Jen was talking about. Look at 12.1 fantasy points per game, 12.2 fantasy points per game. More red zone opportunities for Melvin Gordon. It increased for Williams as the season went on, and I think if we're talking dynasty, we love Williams as a top 5 running back. But the fact that they brought back Gordon, who is experienced, I agree. If you are somebody who likes to avoid running backs early, or you want to just hammer home maybe 2 in the first 4 picks and you forget about the position for a little bit, Melvin Gordon is sitting there. I did a mock draft with Jake Sealer on his show this morning. All in Football can be caught on Game Plus tonight. And Melvin Gordon went in the 9th. And I was like, wow, he's a really good value in
all
the
day,
9th.
every day.
Roll out as a flex, and maybe even both of these guys are RB2s. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a starter. Okay, now the other decision that you have to make. Okay. And were you in on Tim Patrick?
Oh, I was 100% in on Tim Patrick. In fact, Bill Enright at Sports Illustrated, we had a call this morning. He's like, Jen, I thought of you immediately with Tim Patrick. I know he's your boy. Because he notices I take him, and I took him last year too in every draft. And I take him late in every draft. I already took him in Sports Illustrated mock drafts late. Because I'm looking at this. Tim Patrick, first of all, doesn't drop passes. Okay. He doesn't drop the ball. I mean, I think he had 79 targets in, was it 2021 without a drop?
Impressive.
That's impressive. Okay. And we don't know who Russell Wilson's going to go to yet, right? We don't know. But it would make sense that Tim Patrick could be a good target for Russ Wilson. The profile fits, and he's free. So we're all betting on Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, both of whom have had injury issues. And then Tim Patrick's right there. And until now, didn't have injury issue. By the way, can we talk about what the heck is going on in Denver? That every season, one of their guys gets a torn ACL. Like, is the turf bad?
Yeah. Hamler and Sutton too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, like, what's wrong? Is your conditioning team no good? Because that's a problem. It's a big problem.
It is a problem. And I don't know, like, I'm not sort of feeling the same sort of vibes with KJ Hamler as I did with Patrick. Like, you just talked about Patrick, like, his hands are so good, big body, led the Broncos in end zone targets, could have been Russell Wilson's favorite guy. We don't know that it's completely Sutton or Jeudy. Like, a lot of people were wondering last year, is it going to be Woods or Kupp? And it was clearly Kupp. Like, we just don't know when there's new quarterbacks go to these different situations and who they're going to feel comfortable throwing that ball to. But we only have like maybe 45 seconds or so. I actually wouldn't mind keeping you for one more segment just to get like one target out of you. But if you want to just go for like 30, 40 seconds on Jeudy or Sutton, maybe both now with the injury, do you have a preference between either?
Judy's a better route runner. I get it. Sutton had a 34% share of the air yards last year, and his ADOT is more. So I'm going Sutton if I'm picking between the two. He also just has a little bit more of an actual NFL track record than Jerry Jeudy, even though Jerry Jeudy has all the talent. It could be either. I mean, who knows? It could be both. Look, Burrow supported Higgins and Chase. Exactly. Dak Prescott can support Dalton Schultz and, CeeDee Lamb and whoever, right? It can happen. I mean, Lockett and DK Metcalf were both eating in Seattle, a run-first team that didn't trust Russ Wilson. So, and I can go into Russell Wilson more and why I think he's just a screaming value. But
we'll hold that thought. Hold that thought. We'll break and we'll do one more. You can talk about Russell. You were getting into Russell Wilson, why you thought he was a really good value. So I'll let you go. Russell Wilson, you seem to be in.
Russell Wilson, quarterback 11 or better in all but one of his 10 seasons. And in that season, he missed 3 games with injury for his finger. So we're going to give him a pass on that one. Of active quarterbacks playing in the NFL, his 65% career completion rate is better than Tom Brady's. His 6.2% touchdown rate is third behind Mahomes and Rodgers. He's tied with Tom Brady for the 5th lowest interception rate at 1.8%, and he's the 3rd best passer rating behind Mahomes and Rodgers. And he played formerly for a run-first team. Now we've got him in Denver, right? He's got a new lease on life, and he's going to be with Nathaniel Hackett, who was the OC that basically led to the Aaron Rodgers resurgence, right? Back-to-back MVPs for A-Rod. We all kind of had written him off like he's okay, whatever. And then he goes beast mode. Now we've got him with Russell Wilson. I just think the sky is the limit here. Now, I don't think he can bust, right? Where you're getting him right now, he's not going to bust. Unless he gets injured, right? With that spring player. He's not going to bust. All he can do is give you more. I really don't think he's gonna bust on you in that situation. Look at his weapons, right? I am a little bummed about Tim Patrick. That disappoints me a little bit. But he even has a better running back room than ever before, which is only going to help him.
Yeah, exactly. And both, as we saw earlier in the last segment, I mean, both backs can catch. They're going to get probably 80 combined catches between the two.
And they don't target the running back in Seattle at all.
No, never. I know all those times like Chris Carson, like get this guy some catches, and it just wasn't the case. I mean, that checked a lot of boxes there for Russell Wilson. I totally am in agreement with you on everything that you said about this Broncos team. It's too bad about Tim Patrick, unfortunately, but who knows? Maybe they're a player for Will Fuller. We haven't really heard Will Fuller's name in a long time. I know he only has moments in the NFL. Imagine like as a deep threat guy on the outside, inside this offense, like that potentially could happen as well. T.Y. Hilton is another guy, just like a veteran wide receiver that you can sprinkle in here and there. I love it.